Good morning, students. Welcome to economics class. In the previous class, we were discussing about economic reforms, and in that, three major reforms we had discussed. Those were liberalization, privatization, and globalization, LPG. Hope everybody now knows about what is liberalization, what is privatization, and what is globalization. Once again, I'll revise that, then I'll move forward. So what is liberalization? Means being liberal. It implies freedom of private sector. Means before that, right from 1950 to 1990, private sector was not given the major role, the main role. It was put under certain restrictions like licensing, like different tariff policy, like other things, and many industries were not allowed for the private sector. So in this section of liberalization, we gave freedom to the private sector. Private sector was given freedom, means many restrictions which were unnecessary, they were removed. Private sector was given freedom and many more industries were open to them. So it means they had now the power to run the economy, to do whatever they like. Okay, so they were given freedom. The second one is privatization. It implies disinvestment in the public sector. As I have told you earlier, public sector in India was giving losses. It had become burden on the economy. That's why Government of India decided under economic reforms to do this disinvestment, means selling the ownership or management of public sector which was giving losses to the private sector, so that it may cover the loss as well as it may bring back the profits. Okay, so in that section we sold many private sector enterprises to the private sector. Now the third one is globalization. Being global means opening the window of an economy for the world economy, means being global. Before 1991, economic reforms, it was not so. We had kept the window of our economy closed. Our economy was a closed economy just because we were moving towards self-reliance. We wanted that we need not import anything from outside. Okay, so we were planning that everything be produced in our country. That's why we were giving encouragement to the domestic industries. We had started IPR 1956. In that we were planning, we were encouraging our own industries. Okay, but it did not succeed. That's why we became global. We adopted globalization, which implies integration of an economy in the global market. Means we started importing, exporting, exchange of technology, exchange of goods, services, and FDI, foreign direct investment. Okay, so that we had studied before. Okay, clear? Now the topic today is achievements and failures of these three policies. Means how far did it succeed? How far our economic reforms succeed? Okay, and where did we fail? Means in which sector, in which areas LPG could not succeed. So let me tell you the achievements. We achieved a lot. I would use these points to explain. The first point is vibrant economy. Vibrant economy means our economy was not that vibrant. It was not developing properly before economic reforms. Okay, so when we adopted liberalization, we gave freedom to the private sector. It involved in the economy perfectly. It gave boost to the economy, and our economy became a vibrant, means most promising developing economy in the world. Okay, so it was a plus point. Our economy became vibrant, it became developing in the real sense. The second one is increase in industrial production. It's very clear that we gave liberty to private sector. So, it started production, mass production, industrial production was on the rise, right? And with the industrial production, a lot of development was there, right? Means you can say economy got a boost, productivity got a boost, per capita income increased, national income increased. So it was a good sign of progress. The third, check on inflation. Inflation means rising prices. Our economy was facing a big problem of rising prices. But when government started economic reforms, it it controlled those prices, right? Because government got rid of the losses of the public sector, so it got funds, it got power for subsidies, it got power for doing good for the poor sector, poor people, so many steps were taken in those days, and the emerging challenge of inflation was under control. Now the next one is check on fiscal deficit. What is fiscal deficit? Fiscal deficit means budget deficit, when the receipts are less and expenditures of the government are high. So when we started LPG, liberalization, privatisation, globalisation, lots of inflow, means a big inflow of funds in shape of, when we sold those public sector to the private sector, we got funds. There were foreign direct investments, right? Private sector was given freedom. We got so many new taxes. So it was a great inflow of funds in the economy. So our fiscal deficit was on a check. It was controlled by LPG. The next one, the last one is spread of consumerism, means consumer protection. When you give power to the private sector, it definitely gives power to the consumer. Consumer becomes the king in the market, because if his demands, consumer's demand comes, only then production is done. Okay, so supply, demand, when the two forces are there in the market, consumer gets the power, right? It gets variety, it gets reasonable prices, and so on. So there was consumer protection era due to LPG. So these are the achievements of LPG. I hope clear. Now I will be moving towards failures. How far did we succeed, means where did we not get success in LPG? The first point is neglect of agriculture. Say our economy is agrarian economy. Agriculture is our prime occupation, but due to LPG, our interest, our focus shifted from agriculture to the industries, to the service sector, to other sectors. So agriculture, which was the prime occupation, was neglected due to LPG. So productivity in agriculture, production in agriculture and income from agriculture got a shock. Okay, so the prime occupation got a shock. It means we got some derailment in the economy. So neglect of agriculture was a failure, was a negative point of LPG. The second is lopsided growth. Say whatever we was doing in the economy was centered near the cities, near the urban areas. So the rural area was left behind. So our growth was there, it's okay, but it was lopsided, it was one-sided only. We were not getting equality of income, we were not getting rid of the rift between the poor and the rich. So poverty was there, unemployment was there. Say it was not a perfect growth, that's why we call it lopsided growth. Here LPG failed. The next one is cultural erosion. Say under globalization, we gave freedom to the foreign multinational companies, foreign direct investment in the economy. So it brought an industrialized society. So their culture got involved in our culture. So we became materialistic, and so many new things happened in the Indian culture. So it was a clear attack on the Indian culture. Indian culture was under erosion due to MNCs, due to work culture of the multinational companies. They got work at night, and we people are in the habit of working at day, right? Call centers were there. Means it was not that which suits our culture. So it was clear cultural erosion in our economy. Now, the next one is spread of consumerism. That I have told you. Say consumerism means we become spendthrift. We wish to get all material things. We got new TVs, we got new cars, bikes, right? So luxury items were being purchased from the market. Even the middle class, they were also behind spending money. So spending money means consumerism. It started, and people were after consumption only. They got away from savings and investments, which was not a good sign, and it is a negative point of LPG. Now the last point, dominance of multinational companies. Multinational companies, when they entered in our economy, they gave tough competition to the domestic industries, which were not so good in India, right? So their dominance discouraged Indian industries, which was not good. Okay, they got tough competition. They kept on fighting the competition in the market, but it was not a good sign for domestic industries. So this was a negative point. Okay, now in this video we have understood what is liberalization, privatization, globalization, which we had done earlier also, and the achievements and failures of LPG, which is a good question, which is oftenly asked. Okay, will give you good marks. So if you have any queries, you can ask me. I'll make it clear. Thank you.